National Report Court is back in session for today's case. We take you to Texas as you take a live look here in El Paso, courtesy of EarthCam. We bring you here because a new state law authorizes officials there to arrest and seek the deportation of migrants who cross the southern border illegally.
So opponents say that immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, and the new Texas law is likely to face swift legal challenges. We're taking up the potential lawsuit with Andrew Lieb. He's a managing attorney with Lieb at Law, and Hunter Skolnick, who is a trial attorney. So for the purposes of this segment, Andrew will represent Texas. Hunter will represent a potential case by the federal government. So Andrew, I'm going to start with you. The law, which takes effect in March, allows any Texas law enforcement officer to arrest migrants who are suspected of entering the country illegally. Now, once in custody, they could either agree to a Texas judge's order to leave the U.S. or be prosecuted. How would Texas defend this law?
It's very easy. They're violating the law by entering, and that's the key word here, entering Texas illegally. And we can look back to Arizona. There was a case about 11 years ago, U.S. Arizona, that's a case, a Supreme Court case. And that was a 5-3 that said Arizona could not have a law that says, hey, listen, you can't have an illegal presence here. This is an entry law, that's a presence law. And I need to point out the Supreme Court today probably would have allowed Arizona to do what they did. So one more time, what is happening is Texas is saying you can't come over our borders, the Texas Republic, you can't come over our borders illegally. And it's the burden on the prosecutor to say, you should leave. And if you don't want to leave, we'll put you in jail. It's just that simple. Look at the precedent, 5-3. The precedent was about being there. It was about making people have to register. And by the way, that was a very different Supreme Court. I think Hunter and the U.S. government have a lot of problems here. And this Supreme Court's going to say illegal entry into a state is illegal.
Okay, he set that up nicely. Hunter, what would be the defense, again, if the U.S. government took issue with Texas's new approach?
I'd have to say you did set it up perfectly, because the U.S. versus Arizona basically decides this case. The issue that we're going to be looking at is, has the composition of the court changed that they will reverse U.S. versus Arizona? But right now, virtually the identical crossing in and being present in the state law that Arizona had struck down is exactly what the governor in Texas has put forth here in the Texas law. If this court was the same court, there's no question this law would be rejected. This is a federal, this is something the federal government controls, crossing the international border, not states. The whole issue here is we have a whole new Supreme Court. We've seen them throw out cases like Roe versus Wade. I think this is an easier one for them to throw out given the new makeup.
And of course, Governor Abbott is saying the federal government is not acting. They are not enforcing these border security laws that we have in place, and that's why he's doing his own police plan. Like we said, will likely be challenged legally so, and our attorneys laid out the case so brilliantly. Gentlemen, stand by if you could. We wanted to welcome in Krisha Lenzo. She's been listening in too, and clearly, Krisha, this really just goes back to the fact that the border is a mess, and Texas feels as though they have nothing left to do but deputize their police to go after illegal migrants. Realistically, do you see this one holding up in court?
I hope it holds up in court, because I think this is incredibly important. Governor Abbott is doing everything in his power to stop people from illegally crossing into his state and causing chaos and also crime and fentanyl and illegal, all sorts of activity that's occurring within Texas. He's doing what Joe Biden and Alejandro Mayorkas are not, and he's stepping up. And in this case, I agree with Texas and Governor Abbott that he has no other choice but to take matters into his own hands, because these people are illegally coming into this country. Illegal, they're criminals by doing so. So I do believe he has every right as the executive of his state to do this.
I wonder though, like, let's say they come in, they get the first fine, which would be a misdemeanor, then they're released. What's stopping them from going to another state? Will this actually have implications for the state? Because why wouldn't they just go to another state where they're not going to face a felony the next time that someone questions them about their papers?
I mean, yeah, I mean, they could. I think that's also what Governor Abbott is doing. He's sending a lot of these people to other states because his state cannot handle it. But that's really, he's doing what he can. He's protecting his citizens first. And unfortunately, it's a result of our president not protecting the United States first.
We've seen
this is window dressing. This is politics.
I know.
It's
Look,
not
we've
gonna
seen.
change.
We've seen the DOJ go after the razor wire and the barrier as well. I think we can kind of predict where this one's going next. Either way, appreciate the conversation. Gentlemen, Andrew Lieb, Hunter Skolnick, Chris Lenzo with that National Report Court is adjourned. Coming up, Pope Francis.